Hello out there in Packer Nation. Welcome to another edition of the Absolute Packer Podcast. We are on episode 88 today, which I am entitling 17 and Counting. That is because the NFL is very quickly, I guess soon, we're going to be adopting a 17-game regular season in the NFL. And from what I understand, this is the first time there'd be a schedule change of any kind in like 50 years in the NFL. It's been one of the longest running schedules that has basically remained unchanged for the regular season. You know, they've expanded playoffs and stuff, but I'm sure the players are thrilled about playing this extra game.
They voted for it.
That's true. You bring up a good point. I was being a little
Players,
facetious, but you're
yeah,
right.
the players union
Players
did vote
union.
for it.
So we'll have to see what kind of negotiations behind the scenes happened, like the quid pro quo that came out for that. I don't know what the heck it's going to be. But yeah, so we are in the thick of the offseason still. The draft is coming up pretty soon, and we got some other stuff to talk about. But first, I am Andrew Hetzel, and with me, as always, is Elliot Christensen and Jeremy Hautala. Elliot, you're a little bit out of focus, so you may want to focus yourself. Unless you're doing that on purpose.
I'm always unfocused, especially when people start cracking political jokes.
And I might be going in the dark, so.
Ooh. I don't know what to say to that.
I got a burnt out light.
Oh!
Okay. Just realized it when we came in, so.
You know, this is kind of funny. So speaking of burnt out lights and light bulbs and such, if there's one thing I am extremely OCD about, and I have no idea why, but it's light bulbs. I'm stepping in the bucket here, but I have at least one extra light bulb of every kind that I will need for every light fixture in my house. And I can spot a burnt out light bulb. If there's like more than one light or bulb in a light fixture, I can spot that immediately. And I am like totally OCD about light bulbs. I have no idea why, but they drive me crazy. So you are a better man than me, because if a light bulb went out during this podcast, I would probably leave.
Well, and honestly, I was going to say, if this pandemic didn't teach me anything, it was to be prepared for everything. Obviously, I'm not very prepared, so.
You got to pick your battles.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So there is some Packer news to talk about. We skipped a week here, so we need to kind of reset on a couple things. We had talked about Aaron Jones signing an extension, which is obviously fantastic. The Packers also did they technically sign or re-sign? I guess they signed Mercedes Lewis. He was
an unrestricted free agent.
Okay, so they did sign a free agent.
Their own.
Yeah, this is true. What I forgot about real quickly, this just popped in my head, but Tunyon, he was a restricted?
Yep.
And they matched him, is that right?
Well, they tendered him. So basically you can tender a first round, second round, or an original round tender. Basically, so you have the rights to match an offer if a team were to come in and offer him a contract. So they gave him a second round tender, which was roughly $3.3 million. Okay. And if a team were to come in and try to sign him to an extension, the Packers would have the right to choose whether to accept it or deny it. And if they would refuse the contract, they would get a second round pick in this month's draft.
Okay. Now, that could still happen, but the chances of that happening based on the time that's gone by is pretty much nil, I imagine.
It'd be next year then if the contract happened after the draft. It has to be roughly, I think it's 5 days before the draft starts, that if a team were to sign him, then it would be right before the draft that they would have to give up a draft pick if the Packers chose to not match it.
Okay. No, thank you for clarifying that. And the other player they signed, which I'm sure we're all just ecstatic about, is Kevin King. It's 1 year, $6 million. Now that's $6 million is like, that's all with incentives and hitting.
That's pie in the sky.
Yeah, pie in the sky with all the escalators and all these kinds of things. Yes. I think it's like $2 million base is what I saw.
Well, his base salary is $1 million. His signing bonus is Well, mine was 3.75 million. So
We're over.
Mine was 1 million pennies. If you put
Well,
pennies,
we're gonna renegotiate
dripped in
that
oil.
because you're a little. You're kind of over the hill.
and I'm the youngest one in this whole group.
You're past your expiration date.
I'm past my prime. There you go.
Wow.
What were we talking? Kevin King.
Kevin King. No, his contract though. If you look at his contract and what his cap charge is and what Josh Jackson's cap charge is, he's actually going to make less.
Oh my goodness.
Cap wise than Josh Jackson will. So he basically re-signed
I'm good with that, I guess.
For a backup salary. That's pretty much what he re-signed for.
And I mean, I guess that makes it. I was stunned when I saw it, though. It's like to me, and again, I'm not just knee-jerk kind of reaction. It's like that seemed to be a player that you were ripe to just move on from. Period. End of story. But that's easier said than done. He's not the worst cornerback, although he damn near played like one in the most crucial game, and that was like the last memory you have of the guy. But he's not as bad as we make him out to be, but he's not that good either, you know. So
no, and I think
he's a
we've
body,
learned that
right?
He's a body, but the Packers value their own guys.
No doubt.
I think we if we don't realize that yet, then you haven't realized reality.
Pretty much.
So that's what
this is a continuation of Ted. They haven't signed anybody outside the building.
But you know what, though? This is an interesting analogy to think about. So they were in the NFC Championship 2 years in a row. And granted, I mean, there are some deficiencies on that team, but do you really need to shake up the house if you were getting there and you made a few mistakes here and there last year, especially, you know, that swayed the outcome here or there? If they play a perfect game, they win that game. So that's how the Packers, I think, are thinking is we're not that far. We just need to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. We have the team to get there and to get over the top.
I think there's something to be said for that for sure. The one thing I've been thinking about is, you know, I guess it depends. Again, it's kind of like your organizational philosophy. And it's like, if you're a GM, is it malpractice if you don't make your team better when you can? In other words, what I'm saying is if you could sign, you know, undrafted free agent Joe Schmo over here, and he's going to be on special teams, but there's a 6-year vet who's over here who has some experience, is a little bit better, and you have to spend $400,000 more for this guy, and you don't sign him because he's outside the building.
True, but I'll throw this analogy back at you. So you know what you have with Kevin King. You know what you have with Mercedes.
I know what I have, and I don't want it.
But right, and I don't know if you know. Let's say if they went after Hunter Henry, you know, who's a tight end who went to the Patriots. Mm-hmm. Do you know what you have with him besides a high-priced tight end that we just had and had to get rid of because he was a bust?
I get that. That makes sense too. I think it all kind of plays into it. It and I guess where I'm coming from is like the lower tier, kind of more the vets that don't cost a whole lot and the risk would be very low if you bring them in. And it kind of goes back to that whole thing where it's like we joke about it, but it was true. Packers are the last team in the NFL to not sign anybody outside of their own, you know, out from another team. And it's like when I read that, I was like, is it the end of the world? No, but I'm like, that is such a Packers headline during the Ted Goody era.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it is kind of tongue in cheek in a way, but at the same time, I do wonder about that. It's like if you are a GM and you're passing up supposed, even I'll call them simpler moves or less risky moves, whether it's salary wise or, you know, just risk in general, and you're passing those up, you could almost argue in some respects that you're not doing everything you can to make your team better.
Did you look at the details of his contract?
Kevin King?
Yeah.
I did not know.
He has an incentive.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He has an incentive
to play
of $1 million for one interception.
Are you serious?
That's what I'm seeing.
That's his not likely to be earned part of his contract.
That's what I'm reading. That's exactly it. Yeah.
One interception. Really?
Yeah. That's
okay.
That's insane.
That's very sad.
Yeah, and
think about the Packers. They're like, we're willing to bet $1 million that you won't even get one, son. Not even one.
I mean, okay. I think Andy is one of the worst human beings on the planet Earth. Okay, but for $1 million, I think Andy could make one interception in a season.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
He's saying horrible in terms of. I thought he's saying
Equal-
horrible in terms of like, personality, but he's
I
saying
am
horrible in terms
everything.
of
You're
NFL
horrible at
skills,
really almost
Production.
everything,
and
But-
NFL skill set.
but especially NFL skills.
Let's check in to see what Pudge.
I think it's a unanimous
agree.
agreement here.
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand they deal with a different level of economics than my little brain can comprehend, but
Yeah. It would be funny to
just
be in that
meeting in print.
I know, and like to be in like the room with like say you got Gutekunst and Russ.
They say that out loud.
Mark Murphy in a room, and they're literally just throwing numbers out. They're like, "What if we gave him an incentive, $1 million? He can't catch one." Nah. And they'll be like, "Wait a minute. Okay."
Right.
It started off at like $20. And then after an hour, there's like a 24-pack of hams with emptied cans on the conference room table, and they're like, $1 million, you ain't gonna do it.
It's and then the other thing is like these contracts,
they're not worth the paper they're printed on. Half
but
of them,
someday, Jeremy, you're gonna have to explain all this stuff to me because, like, some of his money, if we get rid of him next year, because he'll be considered like free agent again next year, some of it'll be counted as dead money. Like I don't understand the dead money stuff, but this does not seem like a good deal. This is
No.
Well, a good deal to who? The Packers or for Kevin King or both?
Okay,
it sounds like a good deal for him because like his job is to get interceptions in my book. Like to me, a cornerback's job is to get interceptions.
Yeah, but even the best usually don't get that. Well, I shouldn't say
one
if you're
a
top,
year. Damn, that's.
I'd like to look at the stat. I guess I'd like to look at get the top 10 cornerbacks, right? After the top 10, let's say, I'd like to see the interception numbers for anybody past that.
Yeah.
I bet it's low single digits.
And I think it was last year, not this past season, but 2019. I thought Kevin King had like 5 or 6 interceptions. So he's not that far removed.
Well, he must have aged 40 years in 1 year.
But that's part of what I'm saying. I'm like, so he turns it around just a little bit, boom, $1 million.
Well, what's very interesting. I just thought of this while we were talking, but it's like he is going to be under a different defensive coordinator. Maybe they'll use him a little differently because I'll tell you what, Pettin didn't use his skill set very well. I don't know. I mean, he's not the greatest to begin with. He doesn't have a ton of God-given talent. I don't think he was a little bit overrated from that perspective. But black cat crossed my path. Good luck. But it would be interesting to see how they utilize him because hell, what if he gets can you imagine he gets an interception in the first quarter, the first game?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Mark Murphy's in they'll like pan to him in his box and he'll be going, God, he's screaming and yelling, pull him out of the game.
And the funny thing about that is he would make more to get one interception than he would be to suit up for all 16 games because he gets a per game incentive of roughly $12,500.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying.
They're saying they value the fact that he can get an interception versus being active and healthy for 16 regular season.
It sounds like such an indictment on him that they were willing to put up $1 million that he can't get one. But I to your point, Elliot, I have no idea. I don't know. We're sitting here going, look at this. But for all we know, for quote second or third tier cornerbacks, that might be standard operating procedure in contracts. We don't know.
No, I know. That's a good point. Like I haven't looked at everybody else's contracts.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's just, but he's a special little flower for us, and he.
Yeah, I actually special. I saw a stat on him that in the 2 playoff games he was targeted 14 times, and he gave up 11 completions and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Last time I checked.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, okay, so far be it from me to defend these millionaires, right? But I mean, imagine I have bad days all the time. You know, if I have a bad day and you target me, and that costs me my career. You know, I mean, like, damn.
Equating.
You know,
Yeah. So I see you on the street one day. I'll be like, Elliot, what's up? He's like, I got no interceptions today, man.
right, right,
Oh,
right.
been a bad day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so like they do live in a little
You're gonna jump
like
in front. Then you're gonna jump in front of a father and son playing football in the front yard. Snag it.
but you know, so I mean, I get it. It's high risk.
Snag it for that. For that
It
incentive.
is high risk, high reward. I mean, so I get it. But
No,
that's so it's so weird to read in print. Wow, I'm just
yeah, that is kind of funny. It's like a double take. You're like, what? What is this? But yeah, I mean, but going back to Kevin King, the player, and the situation on the roster and everything, it's like as we were talking about that, I was thinking about like, okay, say we just let him walk, we're in trouble. Um, we are better with him than without him, simply because we don't have another option. And man, I don't know what the hell they're going to do with Josh Jackson, but I don't see that guy just all of a sudden like. But maybe he will with a different defensive coordinator. I mean, it looked like Pettin was trying to make him a slot corner. Guy ain't a slot corner. I don't know what they're thinking. But I don't know. So having a new defensive coordinator, it's kind of a wait and see approach on that. I mean, am I holding my breath that Josh Jackson's all of a sudden going to become even good? Not really, but we are in kind of that situation where we need bodies, right?
Yeah, we do, but I think we have to be patient, wait for the draft to happen, and then wait
Yeah,
for what they do after the draft.
no doubt.
Because this is just a shell of a team. This is not going to be our final product going into next year.
How
So,
many picks do we have this year again?
10.
Okay. You think we'll have 10 draft picks, or do you think we'll trade some away?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say we're going to have 8 draft picks. There's 10 picks, but we're actually going to, or 8 players, I should say. 10 picks, but we will draft 8 players, which means we're going to trade up
so
some.
you're going to trade up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that.
That's usually how it kind of plays out, I guess is what I'm saying. It feels like you enter the draft with X amount of picks and we got 10 draft picks and we pick 10 guys. It seems like that rarely happens, but who the hell knows?
I mean, I think this year is a year where they would really benefit from recouping more picks, and what I mean by that is trading down. Because
They could end up with, yeah.
let's say they get a dozen. I think the odds of you getting some decent players out of a dozen versus 10, I mean, that does increase your odds.
It does. Although after the, I think I read somewhere, it's like after the 4th round, even the 3rd round, it's like almost everything becomes such a crapshoot. And obviously, it's like the law of diminishing returns. Once you get to the 7th round, it's like half those guys are projected to be free agent, undrafted free agents.
It could be.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But if let's say they trade out of 29, I mean, most likely you're going to recoup a second and a third, and maybe.
Oh, we know they're going to trade up for a quarterback. I don't know who it's going to be, but they're going to trade up.
We can say for sure that's not going to happen this year. A punter might.
What would his incentive look like? If you can down, it'd be like $1 million. It'd be like $1 million if you can down one inside the 5-yard line one time.
Yeah, there you go.
Inside the opponent's, you have to put that in there. Inside the opponent's 5-yard line.
Your net yardage has to be over 40 yards.
Yeah,
I mean,
our special teams is
ridiculous.
I don't know. We did sign some kind of long snapper guy. I don't know who the hell he is. Fortunato.
He's very fortunate to be
I
a Packer.
guess. If you're talking about your long snapper and your punter, it's usually not in glowing terms. We're not talking about Ray Guy. I don't know. There is so much still in flux with the roster and with everything else going on. Going back to your comment though, Jeremy, about I don't. You're right in that you said we're very close. We made it to 2 NFC Championship games. That doesn't mean you have to blow everything up. But you just do. I guess I'm kind of thinking out loud here. You wonder, like, how far away are they really versus what we think? That I just don't know. You see so many people pontificating out there going, they're one player away. I'm like, and this is the Aaron Rodgers effect. It's like, are we with Aaron Rodgers? Are we another really good difference maker somewhere, or some player on offense or defense away? Or are we? What if even with Aaron Rodgers at MVP form, we're 3 difference makers away? Is kind of what I'm getting at. Like, at least that's the thing that's like unknown, because back-to-back NFC Championship games. If we don't make the NFC Championship game this next year, it's dud, baby. It's like the floor is the NFC Championship game. I don't know. These are kind of the things that are flying through my head at this point. But I do wonder. It's like, oh, if we only somebody had up there. I can't remember where, but they're like, if David Bakhtiari played in the NFC Championship game against Tampa Bay, we would have won. Would they have? I don't think so. Would it have helped?
Honestly,
Would it have
with
helped a
those,
lot? Yeah, but
would
there
that
were
have
but there were holes and mistakes all over the field.
okay? Would that have helped Aaron Jones from fumbling and giving the ball back and
No.
having Tampa Bay score? Would that have helped Kevin King actually cover Scotty Miller before halftime?
Or was it Redmond had the interception go right through his arms?
That too. I mean, we can go down the litany of events.
What I'm getting at is, like, he would have helped, but I am not convinced that a healthy Bakhtiari would have
I
got
think
us
the
to a
point
Super
they're
Bowl.
making though
I
is
don't.
that when you have that extra piece of in the plus column, you're not overcompensating. You're not shifting and overcompensating in ways. You're not, if you're Aaron Jones or you're Aaron Rodgers, you're not trying to get these stretch plays where you feel like, okay, well, I have no choice. I have to pick up these 5 extra yards.
Where you're like trying harder than you
Yeah,
almost like.
you're not stretching.
You feel like you need to.
Just stretching the playbook the way it wasn't meant to be used, right? So I
Maybe.
think there's something to that, where if one of your puzzle pieces is missing, that things do get they get weakened, right?
Like, you feel like there's more pressure to perform even better, to make up for
Yeah,
the losses
and
that you.
and
Yeah, I get that.
and then you screw up once or twice, and then it's this game of momentum, and it just falls apart. Like that game.
You know what's
That
interesting
game
when you
should have
talk
been
about
way
that,
closer than it was. Like let's be real. Like Tampa Bay is not.
and it was at the end, but at one point they were down like
Yeah,
21 points or
yeah.
something.
Tampa Bay is just not that much better.
And Tampa Bay did everything they could to give it away. Brady had 3 picks, 2 in back-to-back series. But anyway, when you were talking about that play where Aaron Jones he fumbled once in the first half and we got it back, but the second time, when you look at that play, you could almost say that was Aaron Rodgers' fault too, because when he threw that ball and the way that play was panning out and the way the defense was, he was going to get clocked. He was going to get smashed and he wasn't really going to see it. So should he have fumbled? Hell no. But when you look at the way that play was designed and the way the defender came and the angles and all that, part of me's going, Aaron Rodgers should know better than putting his guy in that position to even have to do that. Because he was
Well,
going
on that
lateral.
play, David Bakhtiari,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And on that play, would David Bakhtiari made a difference? It would have, because Shaq Barrett got extreme pressure on Rodgers.
Yeah.
And that was kind of his check down,
Yeah, I guess Bakhtiari, that is like, it is kind of the unknown, because I think he would have helped, but I'm not convinced that, like, people are like, Bakhtiari's in there, punch their ticket to Super
difference.
Bowl. I'm like,
No,
I just don't
no,
know.
but it could have been the difference. We don't, I mean, of
It's the
course,
unknown.
there's no way to know.
And that
But
goes, yeah, and again, that's why it goes back to my thing where it's like, are we really just one piece away? I'm like, what if we're 8 pieces away, but we think we're one piece away?
with
And that's the Aaron Rodgers
okay,
effect.
so I know everybody's sick about hearing about this and talking about it, but it's much like the whole virus mitigation stuff. Like you wear a mask. Is it 100%? No, it's not 100%. It's about statistics. It's about averages, right? So
Mhm.
is our team built, like, if we played this entire season again, would we get to the Super Bowl? What are the chances? Probably pretty
Yeah.
good, right? If we had
Yeah.
the exact same
No, I
team,
get.
we played almost exactly the same, probably 80% we get to the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
20%,
No,
but
there's some of that.
20% we don't, and we've happened to fall into that 20%. I mean, just, so would we be happy if we had an 80% chance of Super Bowl next year? Hell yeah.
Darn tootin'.
So like, line me up. I'm in that camp. I'm in the 80% camp.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. There's definitely, and I mean, there is an element of like being kind of spoiled here, but This last that going back to the NFC Championship game, I think to me what was so disconcerting, and I'm probably just repeating myself again, but they had everything they wanted, everything, and they still couldn't do it. And the only thing that I guess you could say everything, they didn't have everything because they didn't have an all-pro left tackle. They had everything but an all-pro left tackle.
And they didn't have a pass rush. I mean, we go down the list of things.
And I mean, actually, when you think about it, we were supposed to have this vaunted pass rush. They didn't do squadouche in that game. No show. I don't know. I mean, we could obviously, whatever. But there were, 30 other teams that ran in the same thing, right? So we make it sit here like it's an 8-team league, and it's like, no, not an 8-team league. It's a 32-team league. So, but I think there's got to be a franchise-wide mental. You could see it on Rodgers' face after that game. He's just like, man, So hopefully they can overcome that stuff. I want to see, you got the new defensive coordinator, you got new special teams coordinator, I want to see, what is it? Biting kneecaps, like
Dan
that
Campbell.
Lions coach,
Dan Campbell.
Oh yeah, I want to see him. I want to see him be like DC. But seriously, you want him to stomp people, just stomp them.
Yeah.
But LaFleur always got, we're all gas, no break. It's a bunch of BS. What was the last team I saw that was literally all gas, no break? Was the 2007 New England Patriots when they had Randy Moss, and they were beating teams by 4 or 5 touchdowns like every week. The game would be over by halftime in half their games, and Belichick would be like, "You see that wound? Pour salt in it." You know what I mean? It's just like, smoke these fools. And so let's hope that mentality really does start to permeate. Because
I think you're right. I think it does have to on the defensive side of the ball. I think that's where
I think it does on the whole damn team, to be honest with you.
It does, but when the defense goes out there, let's be honest. When the defense goes out there and they make a big play or they have a 3-and-out, it's a dynamic 3-and-out. What kind of? I mean, besides
when you say a dynamic 3-and-out, oh, you mean like they make a play on a third down?
Let's just say they make a play. Let's maybe turn the ball over or get a sack.
Or how about defend a pass? We seem to we have to really defend. We have to rely on. It's like Dom Capers in a way. Under Pettin, we had to rely a lot on turnovers and pressure. How many times could you just, hey, we tackled a guy short of the sticks, or we defended a pass, right? It's like that you'd like to see that. More than just like, we have to get an interception or we have to sack this quarterback, because those defenses get figured out and they get exposed.
Right. And when you depend on those types of variables and you don't get them,
you're screwed.
Aftermath. Right.
Yeah. You're screwed if you don't.
Instead of just, going out there and saying, we're not going to give this team any breathing. We're not going to let them breathe.
And I do think that has to be a whole team thing. Break down to special teams. No breathing room for anything.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know.
Well, and speaking of special teams, Tyler Ervin just had a meeting with the Buffalo Bills. So
I can't see him coming back.
I don't know.
Who's going to be the returner? I mean, might be you, Jeremy. You might need to.
I've already applied. They said I was too overweight and white, but I'm going to apply again because you can always be told.
Yeah, right. That's what they said in the interview. And then when the door closed, they moved your resume and they put it in the pile that said, maybe.
Yeah.
They went like, no, we'll see you. And then when the door closed, they're like, put it over in the maybes. No, it's like, man, when was the last time they had a great returner? Is it Desmond Howard? I guess.
Royal Preston.
Who?
Royal Preston? Right after Desmond.
I have no idea who that is. Never heard that name.
Was that during the incident?
You said it was right after Desmond Howard.
I know.
The incident. Oh, okay. Gotcha. No, that was well before. Late 90s.
Maybe the incident was going on a lot longer than we think.
It's entirely possible.
It's probably
I've been having one 25-year long stroke in real time.
Probably.
No, I mean, obviously Desmond Howard was like an all-timer. That might not be completely fair, but you remember when they had like Amon Green back there? Like when Amon Green was like 34. It's like they've had some clowns back there.
Will
Nobody with
Redmond
speed.
was also a good returner.
Or you mean Will Blackman?
No. Oh yeah, Will Blackman. There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He was okay, but it's like, was he a
He had 4
threat?
touchdowns. He had more touchdowns than our special teams in the past decade have.
Well, then I stand corrected. Part of what I'm saying is like he was good, but he was easily the best we've had, and that shows how bad our special teams is. Post Will Blackman. Yeah. I don't know. So again, are you going to draft a returner? No, but can they? Tyler Irving was like serviceable, but he got hurt, So if they could find a guy like him, I guess I'd be okay with that. I just want more. I want more sound stuff. Am I asking for a guy to break 50 yards every time? No, but I don't want him to take it at the 1 yard line or take it out deep in the or not, maybe not the 1 yard line, but like take it like 5 yards deep in the end zone and then get out to like the 15. It's like no more of that crap.
Yeah. Well, I think when you look at the possibility of maybe having somebody replace Tyler Irvin, I think the draft is the first avenue. I think you can look at many players.
Funchess. No, I don't.
No.
No, it won't be him.
I mean, there's quite a few guys out there that are either receiver or running back that can return. They've had the experience in college.
Did Sam Shields ever do it? I can't remember.
He did it a few times, yeah.
But he was so prone to concussions, getting hurt.
Yeah, they didn't allow him in the regular season to do it here.
That was a good decision.
Mm-hmm. But let's say you get a
Cordell Patterson. I read wants to come here.
That's the rumor.
Make it happen. When was the last time you heard of a somewhat dynamic player saying, "I want to go to Green Bay"? I don't know. And Goody's going, yeah, I can give him
that good
million
sledding hill now.
Yeah. When he comes in, he goes, check this out. Hops on a tube, goes down. He's like, what do you think?
And you don't have to carry the tube back up with you.
Yeah, put it on the conveyor.
Put on the conveyor.
Oh, you got to say with that Wisconsin accent. You put on a conveyor there, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there.
You want to go down again or no?
Again or no?
Yeah. How far is it to where we park? It's about a horse apiece. What'd you say? What'd you say there? Horse apiece? All the Wisconsinites coming in. He goes, I'm looking for a time machine. What, a DeLorean? No, an ATM. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Bringing out all the material.
Man.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's obviously past his prime. But again, I look at a guy like that and I'm like, I can't imagine he's terribly expensive and he's an upgrade. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You bring him on for that. He would play special teams and he would be your returner and maybe he'd be like your 5th receiver or 6th receiver or something. I don't know. Wasn't it the Patriots? I think they played us and mid-drive. This is Belichick, I believe. Mid-drive, they switched him to a running back and he ran it down our throats. If my memory serves me correct. They switched his position mid-drive, not mid-season, not mid-drive. And they said, oh, he's going to be a running back now. And would give me another coach that would do that. And he killed us.
Mike McCarthy. You said what? Mike McCarthy, Ty Montgomery. Okay.
Yeah, you walked right into that one.
Sorry, not even close. Ty Montgomery.
It's the same thing.
Well, part of the problem. Sorry, I totally disagree with that.
I mentioned 2 words, and when we mentioned those 2 words, nothing else matters.
Yep. Now here comes something about nesting dolls. Here comes nesting dolls.
Yep.
You know what's funny? I mean, was Ty Montgomery, was he a receiver or a running back in college?
He did everything, but the majority of his time was spent at receiver.
I mean, I like the guy, but to hell with him. And I'm talking about McCarthy and Ty Montgomery.
And Ty.
No, but do you remember what I'm talking about though? For real, I remember distinctly watching that. I go, what the hell's he doing? It would be like if they took freaking, I don't know, like Alan Lazard and said, okay, you're gonna be running back. We're gonna give it to you like 6 straight times, I formation. That's what he did, and it just smoked us. It's hilarious.
It worked.
Exactly. It's like, anywho, well, let's see, other news. And when is the draft?
April 28th through the 30th, I think.
So it's a month away.
Yeah, we're
Thought it was
less than a month away.
okay.
Let me just get the exact dates. Seriously. April 29th through May 1st.
Okay, it's about a month away. Well, I don't know if there's other around the league stuff to talk about outside of, we talked about the 17 games, but are there any other teams that we wanted to talk about? Any?
Well, the Bears signed their next quarterback.
Who was it?
Andy Dalton. I could not contain myself.
The red rifle? Is that they call him? There's some kind of ridiculous name.
Well, you know what? To give them credit, because I know we don't give them a lot of credit, but
Well, Trubisky signed somewhere too, didn't he?
the Buffalo Bills. But supposedly what transpired was they went to Seattle, the Bears did. They went to Seattle and said, we want Russell Wilson. We'll give you 3.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They were going to give him like 19 first-round picks or something.
Yeah, they were going to give him 40.
They were going to give him everything and anything.
Right. And Seattle said no. So then they went and signed Andy Dalton, who I guess is the comparison to Russell Wilson in the Bears' eyes.
The Bears, what can you say? Hilarious.
Well, it's kind of like I compare the Bears quarterback analysis to how we value special teams and linebacker.
There you go. The Bears are to quarterbacks as the Packers are to inside linebackers.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I mean, you have to make cuts somewhere. I mean, that's the magic of the salary cap,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there is something to be said for that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Dalton, it's like a 1-year deal or what? It's like he ain't the quarterback of the future. I think they signed him to a 1-year deal.
1 year, $10 million. So it's not like it's gonna, bankrupt them, but it's kind of an eye
with
opener.
$1 million incentive to complete one pass.
To throw
one
touchdown.
to throw one touchdown. And in the contract, it goes, you have to throw one touchdown, and it has to be against Kevin King versus the Packers. Then you'll get $1 million.
Jeez, brutal.
He's circling that game on the calendar for sure. But yeah, I had forgot about that. Like, they were offering. I mean, what do you think's gonna happen with Russell Wilson? It's like I imagine he's gonna stay there, but it's not looking pretty.
No, but they've went out, and I mean, his biggest concern was offensive line, and they've went out and they traded for 2 guys, and they picked up a free agent there. So, Russell has said that he needs better protection, and they went out and got an all-pro offensive guard from the Raiders, and that's all you can ask them to do is that they're trying to improve there.
Or you could say the quarterback's holding them hostage. Do they really want to make those moves? I don't know.
They did. But you can't blame him. He's one of the highest quarterbacks in the league.
I'm playing kind of devil's advocate. And we're just not used to this. Like Rodgers, if he was like, hey, I want you to go out there and get Stephon Diggs, you think we're going to go out there and go get him? Hell no. We'd be like, piss on you. Right. You're going to throw to, we're going to convert Kevin King to a wide receiver. You'll throw to him. That doesn't happen with us. We don't. Yeah.
You brought up the Bears. What do you guys think about our division this year?
That's a good question.
You know what? That's an excellent question, Elliot. I appreciate that question.
Nicely done. I want. Yeah.
Sorry, Joe Barry.
Well, no, they got let's see. So the Lions got a new coach. I mean, the Lions, I don't know what. They got a new coach and he wants to bite kneecaps.
Right.
All I know is that guy's the best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if they go 0-16.
They're going to be hard to not root for because
My
you love the
God.
guy. You love that guy. I mean, they got a new quarterback there. They're going to overhaul their wide receivers. They're
Can
going
you
to
imagine
overhaul
like
their
coming in to like hype up
defense.
the team and he has like a trash bag over his shoulder, throws it down, and there's like 500 kneecaps inside. He's just swinging it around the block.
But
Ah.
I mean, so do you think that gives them? So I mean, I look at this through my Packer colored sunglasses, right? And so, do you think that them being kind of an overhauled team now, that if we play them early in the season, do you think that gives the Lions an advantage in an early game because they can throw random things?
To be perfectly honest with you, with the Lions, I mean, I know what you're getting at, but it's like the Lions history. How do you judge what somebody might do in the future by what they've done in the past? And they haven't done squat. I mean, basically, they got to prove it, man. They're going to be crap until they prove otherwise. I really, honestly think that. I mean, I like, all kidding aside, I think it's great that this head coach is saying those kinds of comedic type things, but they got to show me something, And so I really don't worry about them. Could they beat us? Yes, but are they going to be good? I'd be stunned beyond belief.
So you think we're going to go
Um,
6-0 in the division?
that I don't know. Because the Vikings, I don't know a whole lot about what they did. I know a little bit about the Bears, and it's like, well, did any team in our division did they go head and shoulders to try and get up to our level, if you will? And I really don't see it.
Detroit.
Detroit with
I
the
throw
kneecap
in.
guy.
Yeah. And then they signed Jamal Williams. They've signed.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
What's funny is all
they've
these
gone
teams,
out and
though,
made additions.
all these NFC North teams, they love to sign ex-Packer players. We know
Oh yeah.
this, and that's where they go to die. So I'm not even worried about that,
No,
to be perfectly honest.
no. But
I think it is the Packers and everybody else. Could somebody, kind of emerge? Sure. I don't know who it would be, though. To be perfectly honest, I don't know of the three. I don't know who it would be.
it depends on how the draft goes. But
That's true. Very true.
I would throw the Vikings into that category because they've improved offensively, and right now they need to get some reinforcements on the defensive line to get their pass rush to where it was previously. And if they can, I mean, they're a threat. They truly are. Are they going to beat us?
Is Kirk Cousins still there? How long is he there
Yeah.
for?
2 more years.
What a dumb, boneheaded signing. I love it.
What better team? Just like we were making fun of Mitchell.
Maybe when they signed him, they had dyslexia on the contract or something like that, where they're like, we'll pay you $5 million for every interception that you throw. Damn it! What were we thinking?
No, I want to go back to the Lions though. So
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
you talk about
I don't know anything about the Lions.
no, and I just want to bring
and
some.
Stafford's not even there. Who's their quarterback in?
Right.
It's
Jared
Goff.
Goff. Right. So, right, but so they got rid of everybody there, including their general manager. They started fresh from the top down. They've pretty much overhauled almost a third of their roster, and they're probably going to overhaul more than that.
Did the same thing with Patricia though, and that blew up. I just don't.
Yeah, but this is the new staff,
That's what they've said the past 10 years.
You could tell that when Patricia and that douchebag GM before made those moves, you were like, okay, those are going to fail. But
they have a new GM. Who's the new GM?
Brad Holmes.
John Holmes.
Brad Holmes. He's from the Rams.
And Kneecap Nelson, my favorite. That's
Kneecap
Nelson.
That's how the Stafford Goff trade originated. Was Holmes?
I think
worked there.
I mean, like you said, it's hard to root against them entirely.
Yeah,
and
because you kind of feel sorry for him.
And these moves are interesting, and I mean, you don't know. We won't know even in the first game, but we certainly don't know until they hit the field, right? And it'll be
and the draft will tell you a lot too.
That'll tell us a little more. Yeah.
How high are their picks? Pretty high.
Top 10. Yeah. I think they're 6th or 7th.
Well, if they're going to try and draft a quarterback, we got to trade up and get in front of them and grab that quarterback before they can.
Well, I mean,
now, so what I'm already picturing in my head? I'm picturing Kneecap Nelson in his office, and he's got like instead of like animals' heads on the wall or pelts on the wall, he's just got like
Kneecaps.
human knees just lined up behind him like a half a dozen.
And I don't think you're also taking into account too that the Lions, because of their finish last year, they're going to have one of the weakest schedules.
This
So
is true. The
they're
Packers have a
they're
tough
ripe for a
schedule.
turnaround.
God, the Packers have
It's
a tough
crazy.
schedule.
But a lot of those tough games are at home, so that's a good thing for them. For
Yes.
last year, a lot of those
And
tough games were
the
on the road.
17th game, Kansas City. You're like, geez,
Yeah,
Louise.
could be played in Hawaii. We don't know.
The UK.
The UK.
In the
Kneecap
UK
Nelson.
in what, in January? That wouldn't be. That's not going to be a good. Is it indoors?
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know.
London's it's Wembley Field. They play soccer there. They enclose.
Oh, it's indoors. Okay.
It's the weather won't be a problem.
Yeah, but the long flight will be. Like that's
That's a yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like playing a tough.
Well, maybe they should just leave. They should leave 3 weeks early on a steamship.
Playing a tough team. I
don't like the steamship ideology because now I'm thinking the Titanic. We lose everybody. We lose Aaron Rodgers. Now we start over.
Then we find out that the captain is Kneecap Nelson.
The parity system of the NFL is just, it's so magical because
don't tell that to Tom Brady and his 7 Super Bowl rings. I'm just kidding. I couldn't help myself. He's got so many he could throw one into Tampa Bay, literally in the Bay of Tampa Bay. Be like, oh,
I'm gonna throw you into Tampa Bay.
No, but to Elliot's point, the NFL is all about parity.
Yeah.
Every single year, there's new teams that come out of nowhere.
Yeah, the way they structure with the draft, the scheduling, it's all meant to.
Yeah. And we don't know what's going to happen with the Packers. We think status quo is good. We think like not making it to the NFC Championship is a failure.
I'm very curious to see this draft. Very curious.
I mean,
if they have a draft that's anything like last year's draft, I'm going to kneecap myself.
I'm not bullish on the Bears, but they're always tough when they play the Packers.
I mean, every game within the division is always tough because you play them all the time. You know them.
Right. And the Vikings
that's
are
why I'm
always
saying,
tough.
Are the Packers head and shoulders above everybody? No, they're not.
No.
But I'm looking at the 3 that aren't the Packers, and I'm going, it's still the Packers to lose.
Yeah.
But they could get beat by, hell, they could get swept by any of them.
Right.
They could.
Right. Well, there again, it's like a percentage thing. If we think of that as being 80-20, well, that means we play 6 games, we're going to lose 1 or 2 of them. Like that's
no doubt.
That's not great.
Yep.
It's better than the alternative.
No, right. Yeah, I'd rather be in the 80% side than the 20% side. No doubt. So
this is true.
Is that all you got, boys?
I think that's all I got. We're getting closer, but we're still in the off season, so it kind of trickles in here and there, and a lot of clickbaity crap.
Yeah, and I mean, there are a lot of people that are very disgusted with how this offseason has gone. And you know what? I mean, I can understand that, but give it a little time before you start throwing the cheesehead into the Bay of Green Bay. Just be patient.
Yeah.
The cheesehead into the Bay of Green Bay.
Yeah.
That's a sad song.
I was reading something about Belichick, though. Not that I want to dwell on New England too much, but he made a tremendous number of moves in the just trading, and it was
they're thinking that Garoppolo is going to go back there.
I couldn't even keep up with everything that they were doing. It was just crazy, and compared to the Packers, basically do nothing. So it is a stark contrast, and you would like to get it.
They had a lot more cap room, did they not?
Yeah,
right. They had close to $70 million.
Yeah,
and we had like a dime and a Ziploc baggie of kneecaps.
And a Renard's cheese curd.
Well, they're good.
And a Menards 11% off gift.
There you go. Buy one, get one free.
I always laugh at that. I'm like, I mean, I get it, but I'm like, 11%? Where did that come from? Why 11?
Oh, that's so stupid.
Probably
I
because
want to know
somebody else
why
had
11.
10%,
I guess.
and it just stuck. Some competitor that long since went out of business. You know how it is. It's like those other podcasts. We got to one up.
That's another incentive. We got the sledding hill and we got the 11% off Menards gift card. Oh, and here's a wooden cigar box. Open it up. 3 cleaned, distinguished kneecaps. I can't get over that. When we're done with this, I'm gonna have to find that on YouTube. I'm just gonna call him Kneecap Nelson because I can't call him Kneecap Campbell. Doesn't flow off the tongue, so I'm just gonna call him Kneecap Nelson. But he's my new favorite guy.
He's good. He's good.
It's like, what do you stand for, sir? Cannibal. That's what I stand for. What is your team building philosophy? Cannibalism. Oh, okay.
So when like the summer after high school, I took it wasn't summer, it was winter, I think. But we took a road trip. Me and 2 friends took a road trip to Las Vegas. And so there were 3 of us. We took turns driving. So like the whole way there, so we didn't like stop off anywhere to sleep, right? And so we were just like delirious, right? And like so halfway into the trip there, one of them made a sign that said, "Help! I'm being held captive by cannibals." And I held it up, and the reactions from people as they were driving by was priceless. It was just great. It was really
and a younger, more spry coach Campbell stopped and said, "You guys got the kneecap?"
You know what? I was seriously wondering why Elliot was kind of laughing every time we talked about kneecaps, and now
it was so great.
Makes complete sense.
Jeremy, you have no idea. That is one of the best videos I've ever seen.
It was great.
It was. Yeah. I mean, he's just like the guy. He's like running down a hill, and all of a sudden he just starts getting too much momentum, and all of a sudden he just tumbles forward. And he's just flying down. And you're like, what is this? What is happening? Could you imagine if LaFleur came out there and said that? I would have been like, this is the best guy ever.
All right, I'm hanging up on you guys.
Fine.
Right. Go Pecco.
Go Pecco.
Podcast.
Chair.
I know, right?